Dreams can be a very personal experience, rich in visuals, sensations, emotions, and subtle nuances akin to each dreamer. Therefore, the dreamer could produce multiple interpretations of a single dream. In this case, an uninterpreted dream is like a sea of possibilities. You could easily get lost in it. So, a method of interpretation is like a map and compass in this sea. I say map and compass because sadly, there is no GPS method for dream interpretation yet. But look at the silver lining of the situation. We're still in the age of discovery when it comes to dreaming. In the following video, you will discover how to interpret a dream through a reliable and consistent method in 4 simple steps. Thanks to the step-by-step breakdown of the process, you'll be well prepared to decipher the hidden meanings of your dreams. Last but not least, this method will improve your dreaming experience by creating practical habits. What is a good dream interpretation method? Simple and straightforward always wins the day. So even if you know absolutely nothing about dream interpretation, the following 4 steps will teach you the foundations of what to do. So without further ado, here is the first step. Write down the dream in your dream journal. The very process of recording a dream is to tell its story. By describing every detail of the dream, interpreters are setting the stage for future interpretations. Some gifted dreamers can even draw a specific image or play a tune from their dream. The key is to honestly represent your dreams with your own words, drawings, notes, or other ways you use to express yourself. Furthermore, a record is important because even a very vivid dream can change with time, and each time we recollect it. As we change, so do our memories of things. A written account helps us with authenticity and factualness. And memory, of course. Nobody remembers what they dreamt about on the 1st of August 2 years ago. Still, if you read your dream journal entry of that day, you'll surely be like, oh, I remember this. Here is another key moment. Write down the dream as soon as you can. Dreams are very fragile under daylight. The moment we open our eyes, we start forgetting details that can help us later. Moreover, sometimes dreams are not that flattering, and we may feel tempted to change the narrative or gloss over an embarrassing part of the story. Don't do this. Just be honest and write down everything you can remember. I'd also recommend you use your phone because a digital dream journal is much easier to work with, especially when you're looking for a recurring symbol through the years, but more on that later. In short, keeping a dream journal is a key component of interpreting your dreams, and it has a ton of other benefits, so many that they require their own video to discuss. The second step of the process requires you to perform an initial interpretation of the dream. Try to determine what the dream is telling you without overthinking it. What is the main message of this dream? Is it something obvious and self-explanatory? If so, good for you. The dream has spoken in plain terms and made itself abundantly clear. Unfortunately, many dreams are not that straightforward. While on the surface they might seem familiar and easy to interpret, there is something that doesn't quite fit the explanation, leaving us in doubt. These dreams possess the nagging qualities of a puzzle to be solved, a journey to be taken, and a story to be discovered. They have something that entices us and fills us with promise and wonder. If your dream falls in this category, then good for you again. The dream has spoken in mysterious ways, and a dreamer shall rise to the occasion. Which leads us to the third step of the process. You need to determine the type of the dream. While dreams can be categorized in a multitude of ways, There are several distinct groups for purely practical reasons. Here is a breakdown of what you need to be looking for. Is this a dream about the past? These dreams usually deal with traumatic or unresolved events from the dreamer's past. When something bad, stressful, or traumatic happens in life, people need time to process and get over it. An interesting function of the dreaming mind is to relive the experience and often change slightly the context, action, or the outcome of the situations. Dreams about the past serve much like what-if simulations of the event that offer the dreamer alternative solutions for future use. They are sort of learning experiences. Dreamers can often gain wisdom and consolation from such dreams. Good examples of dreams about the past include recent fights, breakups, and other traumatic experiences. Depending on the seriousness of the trauma, such dreams can persist for years, like with war veterans, for example. Still, normal drama should usually fade away after a couple of months. Therefore, if you had a big fight with a friend and you dream about fighting with the same person a year later, it's probably not about the fight itself, but about a similar situation. It's very likely that it's a dream about the present. These dreams usually deal with some insight and realization about the inner or outer world of the dreamer. They can shed light on behavior models, attitudes, emotional states, and so on. To recognize this type of dream, look for what's going on in your life right now. Remember that the dream might not be direct in its meaning, but using a symbol, a metaphor, or even a comparison. Let's say you have a fight with a person from your past that you no longer see. The dream could be showing a pattern of behavior in this case. Maybe someone else shares behavior similar to that person. How are you going to handle the situation this time around? Will you have a fight again? Or will you try to calmly discuss boundaries instead? Perhaps the dream is showing you the solution to the situation or its inevitable result. This type of dream can show us exes, friends from the past, prior homes, jobs, schools, just to alert us to something similar going on now. So while it might look and feel like the past, it is actually an entirely new situation that shares a resemblance to the past. There are, of course, other types of dreams about the present. Gaining awareness about a change in your inner world is often a dream about the present. I had a dream recently about a giant eyeball staring at me from the movie screen. I don't care much about you anymore, I told the giant eyeball. Not since the end game. I was confused at first while writing down my dream in the morning, but then I remembered the Doctor Strange movie from the previous day, and I immediately figured out the dream. There was a giant eyeball octopus monster in the movie. I figured I was growing increasingly indifferent to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and this had been happening for a while, actually since Avengers Endgame. So that was the meaning of my dream. It is important to know that this type of dream could have been developing for days, months, or even years, but it is now the dreamer becoming conscious of them, so they're sort of dealing with the present. Moreover, what triggers the awareness is usually some catalyst in the near past or the near future. Speaking of the near future, here is the next type of dreams. Dreams about the future deal with events yet to transpire. They can reveal situations that are both possible or impossible to predict in the time they are dreamt. These dreams are usually the ones that receive the most representation and misrepresentation in popular culture, movies, and talk shows. Prophetic dreams are a topic that requires its own video, so I won't get too deep into it now. Dreams about the future usually become apparent in hindsight, that is, once the event they describe has transpired. However, with training and experience, dreamers gain a decent preconception of what's coming. The benefit is not so much about changing events, but about trusting your intuition and being prepared. Still, let me give you an example of why you should keep a dream journal. What if I told you that I had the giant eyeball dream a month before actually going to the movie theater? Well, I did. I dreamt about the giant eyeball a month before actually watching Doctor Strange. Have I seen trailers with the eyeball monster before dreaming it? Probably, though in the dream it was even goofier. In this sense, it was hardly a prophetic dream. However, thanks to my dream journal, I could verify my dream and connect the dots. Oftentimes, the key to interpreting the dream is in the future, not in the present. It wasn't until I watched the movie and the goofy fight with the eyeball octopus that I could realize the Marvel Cinematic Universe was no longer doing it for me. After more than 20 movies, I became accustomed and conditioned to like these movies, but my unconscious mind noticed that I was doing things by rote. When I saw the Doctor Strange movie and read my dream journal entry, I consciously realized that the magic was gone. In this sense, my dreaming mind was well ahead of me, and this is quite often the case. Epic dreams are so vivid, abstract, awesome and inspiring that they don't simply change lives, they give life. Dreaming them is to witness a revelation, and the very act of interpreting them is a life journey, and it feels like a spiritual experience. Every dreamer usually has a few of these, and though the popular term remains epic, fans of metaphors also call them the path that calls and the seed of divinity. If you've had an epic dream, you probably know by now what I mean. If you haven't, I sincerely pray that you get one soon. It's a transformative experience, to say the least. Nightmares usually deal with stress and trauma in adults, though these are not the only reasons that apply. They are very disturbing to have, and the source of the disturbance is usually quite obvious in the real world. In such a case, do your best to resolve the issues that bother you in one way or another. Peace of mind equals peaceful dreams. Sometimes though, nightmares are not so easy to interpret. In these cases, inner work is required to reach a resolution. Very often dreamers need to do shadow work. This is to face the rejected aspects of their personality. There is not much to these dreams, hence the name. There is not much in terms of characters, story, or anything really. These dreams feel like a fragment of some sort, disjointed images and sensations that carry no obvious or hidden meaning. Very often, such dreams can be explained by the memory functions of dreams. Dreaming plays a crucial role in the creation and processing of memories. In scientific experiments, researchers have discovered that people's memory suffers adverse effects whenever they are deprived of rapid eye movement sleep. Therefore, whenever you have such vague and unclear dreams, it could be just your brain doing its memory workout. Grind dreams happen when your daytime reality carries over into your nightly dreams. It can be too much work, studying, video games, TV, or anything else that was too much during the day. Once you go to bed, the dream keeps replaying what was on your mind during the day. That's why these dreams are no fun at all. You definitely get the too much vibe during them because it feels like you're caught in a trap. Waking up from these dreams feels a lot like a hangover. Your dreams are giving you a clear sign that something has to change and it's best to listen. After all, you're sharing a head with them. Now these are the 7 types of dreams that you need to know for practical purposes. If you can categorize your dream as one of the above, definitely make a note in your dream journal. Even if the mystery is not entirely solved, you've done some detective work already. it's time to move on to the next step of interpreting a dream. Working with the journal is where most of the work is done, but there is still fun to be had here. Besides, the very acts of keeping a journal and paying attention to your unconscious mind would increase both the quality and quantity of your dreams. That's a good case of sowing minor efforts and reaping major rewards. There are a couple of ways in which working with the journal will help you interpret your dreams. Keep an eye on the timeline. Oftentimes, something has to happen in the outer world in order to figure out what the inner world is telling you. You can have a dream that is a complete mystery for days, even weeks, but then something happens and it all becomes clear. The giant eyeball dream is a good example of such a case. It wasn't until the goofy eyeball octopus monster was staring at me from the movie screen that I knew what my dream was about. Case solved. All I needed was a little patience and to check my journal entry from 30 days ago. It can be a few days, weeks, or even a month. You might figure out even years-old dreams if you read those old journal entries every now and then. You will quickly see the patterns that run underneath your conscious mind. The second thing you can do with the dream journal is to study symbols of interest. Sometimes you will dream of symbols or archetypes that mean very little to you or you have a hard time deciphering. When you write down your dreams in a digital format, you can easily run a search for that symbol and see how it appears in other dreams. Little by little, your dreams will be making more sense to you. For example, you can dream of your shoes full of water. What's that about? You dream of it once, then you dream about it again a few months later, and then again and again. Every time there is a different context, and every time the dream provides some additional clue to what a shoe full of water sort of means. Until one day you manage to crack what a shoe full of water means. Just by detective work. It's a lot like being abroad and a foreigner is trying to tell you something. Sooner or later, he will find a way to explain what he means. You might be speaking different languages, but you still understand each other, and that's what matters. The third way to work with the journal is to use the puzzle piece approach. You know how a puzzle piece has a distinct pattern and it can fit only in a specific place and nowhere else? The same applies to dreams in relation to your life. Try to match puzzle pieces with waking life situations. Break down the dream into its basic components and see if any of it fits with real life situations. It is important to look for both symbolic patterns and literal interpretations. Dreams will often show you something from real life and then something symbolic. The first is there to attract and focus your attention on a specific situation. The symbolic part is there to make you think outside the box and question what is really going on there. That's the beauty of dreams. They show you stuff that you need to think about. Of course, the hard part in dream interpretation is discerning what is literal and what is symbolic. When is a cigar just a cigar, as Freud would phrase it? Well, just don't overthink it. I've learned that whenever I'm particularly oblivious to something, my dreams would swiftly find a way to really spell it out for me. I suppose that's good for a final piece of advice. Don't overthink it. Don't sweat it. You just can't figure them all out. Maybe we're not even meant to figure them all out. After all, dreams are good enough on their own. So keep dreaming. And maybe start a dream journal if you don't have one already. If you like this video, please like, share and comment. It helps a great deal. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. I wish you the most inspiring dreams. Till next time.